All right, well, welcome back. I'm Caroline Best of the Tao of Horsemanship. This is Everything Horses and More weekly podcast where we are educating, liberating, and inspiring horse owners around the world. And we have our lovely guest today, Renee Montgomery. And our topic is bringing the Tao approach into other areas of life, aka following your bliss. So I created the topic following your bliss because it's really what sums up the big picture for this topic is how do you follow your bliss? And you know, it's Renee's going to dive in deep with us today, sharing her personal experience. And then of course I'll chime in as I always do. And I hope that this gives others a roadmap, so to speak, of how do you follow your bliss and how do you even know what your bliss is. That's a whole nother podcast, but maybe we'll touch on that a little bit, Renee. Like, how did you know? I think that's where we'll start, actually. Like, yeah, I know that'll be a good intro. So you weren't even looking to follow your bliss, or were you when you found me? Maybe you were, because you found me, right? You were all the way out in Utah.
Yep.
And you found me how?
YouTube, good old YouTube.
Yes, like everyone else.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, I kind of hit, probably many can relate to this. I kind of hit a roadblock. Like, I was stuck with my horse. She was a rescue horse. She was a Mustang. I got her at 3.5. And you don't know what you don't know. And I didn't know what she had going on, but it was something. And the trainers locally were unable to assist / made it worse in a lot of ways. And they weren't providing me with training. They were putting rides on her, but it wasn't training me, as you know, in addition to my horse. So we weren't really getting anywhere. And I kind of come to my wit's end. I'm like, I don't know how to handle this horse. The behaviors, a lot of them were very extreme.
They were getting worse.
Very sweet natured.
Yes.
Yeah, very sweet natured horse. But just a lot going on with her. And I think I Googled something like bad horses turned good or something ridiculous like that. And your video popped up. I don't know how that wording, but your video popped up, and it was a video with you and Zor working with spooky horses. And I watched it and I was like, because a Brill, my horse, a Brill, she was extremely spooky, bolty, like very not confident. And I watched and I was like, there's something different about what you're doing than what I've seen in other YouTube videos. Because I had followed a couple other like natural horsemanship people, but kind of surface level, like, but they weren't really giving me what I needed. So when I was watching them, I'm like, okay, this is different. And then I watched your video with you at the mounting block, asking permission to get on with Lovey, that video. And I'm like, okay, you are totally different. I have never seen anyone talk about this. And I think I emailed you and I'm like, hell.
I love it.
And that was it.
I love it. No, two quick technical things. Make sure your volume's all the way up and just stay close to this. Yeah, close to the screen.
Oh,
yes,
close up. Is that better?
That's much better. Thank you, love.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, and that could even be following your bliss, right? I mean, you had your bliss is your horse, your horsemanship, and you were stuck and you searched. So that's part of the bliss. I think it's really important that we identify what bliss is, because a lot of people want to be happy. We all want to be happy, and we all want to do things that fulfill us and make us happy and make the people we love happy. But we're just talking about ourselves right now. So I don't mean to be too self-centered, but we want to be happy and feel fulfilled, and we want our lives to be enriched. We want to have enriching experiences with the people around us. And, you know, in my experience working with as many people as I have horses, which is thousands, and now we're doing these podcasts and we're sharing, so we're reaching, you know, a much larger audience, obviously worldwide, and I'm getting tons of feedback and emails, and it's all great. So there's this commonality is what I'm getting at, and the commonality is it's not just in our horsemanship that we're focusing on just at this moment, because there's more you're going to tell us about. But it's literally the bliss, your horsemanship is part of your bliss. But there's other pieces to you, who you are, that make up, you know, an enriching life for you. And there's so many people out there, the commonality is they deny themselves this. They for whatever reasons, they don't have the skills, they don't know how, they've spent most of their life raising kids, supporting husbands, not taking care of themselves. And I see this a lot because my demographic or my audience is middle-aged women, 10 years younger to my 10 years older than me, and I'm 53. So these are the women that are like, damn it, I'm taking care of myself now. You know, I have my own business, I've got my own money, or I'm done with, you know, supporting X, Y, and Z, and it's time for me. And they find me, you're younger, but they find me because they want the spiritual approach. They want to be enriched. And that's following your bliss. Right there is following your bliss. The minute you decide to follow your heart, and be true and authenticity, you are on the way to following your bliss. So Renee found me, and how many years ago was that?
Gosh, beginning of 2017.
Okay.
Very early in the year.
Yes, it was, because at that point we started coaching calls because we were long distance. You were in Utah, I'm in Florida, and about 6 months of coaching calls and you were moving to Florida. Yes.
Well, I can go into that a little bit if you'd like, because the
Yes.
coaching calls were paramount in my progress and my horse's progress, for sure. So
it takes two, Renee. You were paramount too. You were willing to do the work, and you were coming from a life of so much depletion. You had no abundance. You had no reservoir. You make me cry. You're so beautiful and courageous, you guys, you know, to trust me and trust this process and allow me to guide you. And who you were and who you are today is leaps and bounds. But anyway, go ahead. So proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So yeah, you know, right off the bat, Caroline's like, let's do some coaching calls because we need to work on you too, which is the first time I'd ever heard that. No horse educator in my existence, in my lifetime, and I've been riding since I was little, had ever said, let's focus on you and get you to where, you know, get you going, because that will reflect in your horse, which is kind of a side topic, but nonetheless. So I dove in, we did long distance coaching calls for, like Caroline said, many months. And it was really interesting. And one, well, all the coaching calls were important, but one I really would like to highlight that I feel like was pivotal for me was early in the morning, we had a coaching call, and you did an exercise with me, and I don't want to give away your exercises for your coaching, but I won't tell about all of it. But the main point of it was, because I was coming from a place of lack and depletion, I, like Caroline said, I had no reserves. And she's like, you do not believe you deserve anything good. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but essentially that was it. She's like, you need to believe that you deserve, the big D, deserve. And she's like, I want you to write this on a piece of paper in giant letters. This is just like it happened yesterday. Circle that, keep circling, circle, circle, circle. And then like put a web off from everything you believe you deserve, like all the different topic areas you believe you deserve. And I did that. And I think I was just crying with you, like the entire exercise, because no one's ever sat me down and really been like, Renee, you deserve, you are worthy of, you are loved. Like when you're coming from such a bad situation and you've been in that situation for so long and you're just done, like to have someone kind of pull you up out of that abyss and be like, you deserve.
Yeah.
That was Caroline. That was our coaching calls. And that just springboarded me when she's like, you deserve to have the life you want. And then we worked on, she mentioned law of attraction. Well, that blew my mind. And I mean, I had been raised a Christian, and I had been taught, you know, to a certain extent, some of these things, but Caroline put a name to it, which was law of attraction. And what you think about and in your head and what you speak in your actions will bring that into your life. So if you're speaking negative and thinking you don't deserve it,
language,
black, and you have all these things, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
bring more lack into your life. But if you believe you have abundance and you deserve, you're going to bring that into your life. It's the law, it's physics, it's how it works. And Caroline was teaching me.
So just repeat.
Sure.
We're live. Yep, we're live now. I can see it. So sorry, guys, lost internet, and we left off where just Renee's mindset changed her horse in such a way, energetically, like Abril got softer, you giving that summer off and dedicating it to you in our coaching. It just in those few months, it had shifted your relationship with your horse, and it had shifted your horse's attitude, your horse's well-being. And it's, yeah, and like you said, when you know, it's an embodiment. You were mentally shifting, and you know, your thoughts were changing, your emotions, you know, our emotions control everything. So they control our thoughts, they control our language, they control our physical. Hi guys, sorry, it's the internet as usual, but we're back live. So that you moved out, when did you move exactly? In the fall of 2017 to Florida? I can't remember. It was,
fall of
yes.
2017, yep.
Yep, and you boarded your horse with me, and you had a part-time job working for me, am I correct? Or at least bartering?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as essentially like a working student.
Yes, yes. And so that at that point, we then switched gears, and we were able to work more studiously, seriously with you and Abril, and then I was there hands-on to help with that process. So that was an amazing transformation, because you had already done like 6 months of working on yourself, and now, you know, you're following your bliss at that point, which was just feeling better about yourself, getting in a healthier environment with like mind. You got out of a really unhealthy environment in Utah in every which way, between relationships and friendships, and you just literally came and started over. And you also, oh yeah, let's not forget one very important piece to all of this. Your best friend from Maine, that's where you're from, Emily, your best friend, was also in Florida. And Emily was on our podcast. Emily was on our podcast last week. So it's beautiful. So that was another draw to come to Florida, and you have a half sister here. You've got family here. Because I know not everybody can just, it's not about just picking up and leaving, you guys. You don't have to geographically leave to start over, but it's sometimes hard to just wipe the slate clean with people, you know, when you're in the same community, the same environment. It's tough. Okay, my dear, so keep going. You're talking about beginning the journey, moving to Florida, where you're embodying a new confidence, you're healing, continuing to heal, and you have tons of support of like mind, including me as your mentor. You're also, I think the key word here is understanding what it means to be a leader for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And understanding how to be a leader for myself, because I'm still working on this. You know, I feel like I'm still a work in progress. I feel like most, you know, people,
aren't we all?
Aren't we all? We all are, exactly. And leadership is to an extent still working on it, but even back then I was just so scared. I'm just gonna be brutally honest. I was scared. I had almost no confidence. Mm-hmm. And that transpired, of course, in my horsemanship. And Abril's like, okay. So I had to work on that leadership aspect, because I tend to be a people pleaser and say yes and bend over backwards, which is a good quality in some respects, but I didn't really have good boundaries or stand up for myself when I deserved. Is it deserve again?
Let's use the right word. Sorry. It's not a good quality, but you've got to you also, what I'd like to say is, it's not, I don't want to say it's a good quality to be a people pleaser. What we want to say is the reasons why you're a people pleaser, some of those qualities are good, because some of those qualities are the fact that naturally your nature is sweet. Yeah. And are we no longer live?
I am.
Okay, good. Your picture froze. So, but yeah, there you are. Good, you're back. So it's like identifying the qualities of what makes us a people pleaser. And there's a lot of us out there that want to please to a point where, like you said, you have no boundaries, and we end up becoming depleted and used and resentful and all those other things, that law of attraction. We just can't get out of that muddy mess. But we want to also embrace the reasons why we're there. Identify the negative reasons, the imbalances of being that way, but I identify that you've got a great nature, you're a love. You know, a lot of people, they get caught into becoming a people pleaser or a doormat, so to speak, or not having healthy boundaries. We learn that from our family dynamic, or we don't learn it. But we also need to, as I just said, embrace and acknowledge that there's a lot of positives that we want to strengthen within us. So those positives, that's stuff that we talked about too, you know, in our personal coaching. You know, like I said, you're a beautiful person inside and out, and you're sweet, and you just have to be really careful who you bring into your life, that the people are going to respect that about you and appreciate that about you and not take that from you. And that's key, because that's where you're at. Mm-hmm. You are in that healthy space.
Yeah, learning, how to have those boundaries. And I believe when I moved to Florida, one of the things you said to me was like, we're going to focus on boundaries with you because of that, those experiences I had had. And making sure that moving forward, you know, that's an area that I could take into my horsemanship, but all my areas of my life to be healthy and balanced, like you said.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Good point, Lydia. Yeah, without self-sacrifice, that's very important. Yeah, we don't want to take away what makes us beautiful and special and sweet and endearing. And it's always that learning the love and leadership. There's always the yin and the yang, you know, the dark and the light. How do we balance everything? Yeah, how do we balance it all?
And yeah, that's my work, the work you do with the Tao, that's exactly that, learning to know when to step up and be a leader, and know when to partner and offer love, and being balanced on all that, and the emotional agility that goes into it, that it can be very you don't have to have, like when you're working with horses and you're teaching us, you don't have to have all this emotion behind if you have to maybe step up and be a leader for a moment with a horse and redirect them. That doesn't have to have all this like negative emotion behind it. It can just be, I love you, I need to do this. Mm-hmm. And then you're right back to that love and that partnership that you teach us. And so that's been a huge value for me, because I'm learning to say, no, I can't do this. But at the same time, I'm like, I still love you, you know, like you still are valuable, and I appreciate you asking me. So no doesn't, because in my head previously, no meant like, I'm not meeting expectations, they're not going to like me anymore, you know, all these things running around my head. And that doesn't have to mean that. It can just mean, no, thank you for the opportunity. Please keep me in mind for the future. But you can still remain friends with that person. You can still, you know, it doesn't have to be this all or nothing, I guess.
Yes. And you're taking care of yourself. You're being true to you when you say that, instead of trying to take care of someone else, basically, and what their needs are. And that's so important. If we don't take care of ourselves, if we're not in a good place, then we're not going to be in a good place with anything else. Bottom line, guys, it truly is the law of attraction. And there, you know, these are some golden nuggets and points that we all need to consider and reconsider depending on where we are in our lives. You know, like you said, we're a work in progress always. And it's never a finished piece of art. We're all a piece of art. And we can change that art. You know, we can change the story. We can change the composition. We can change the colors. We have control over that. We can change our destiny. We can choose our destiny. Choice is a big word. And you have to, you know, follow your bliss. You have to believe. And in some situations, you know, like Renee's, she was at rock bottom. Following her bliss is what led her to me. But, you know, she needed to get out of, you needed to get out of where you were all the way around. It was completely had robbed you. And you could barely see your way through. Now, that was just amazing. So we go through all of that, and there's some major changes, like you end up getting an amazing, so before you moved to Florida, you were waitressing and you were doing a bunch of part-time jobs to make ends meet. You didn't really have a career because your number one passion in life you had given up on. We're going to get to that, don't say it yet. You'd given up on, and it had crushed you. And you, like many of us, either a breakup with a loved one or a major disappointment in life, like your dream disappointment or your job disappointment or your relationship disappointment, can completely crush us. And you were also crushed because you went to school specifically to be an opera singer or for music, to be a singer. And you had nothing but horrific teachers, and for the most part, and you lost your dream and you lost your way. I mean, horses are part of your dream and your passion too. But if you had the type of mentorship with your singing career like you have now back then, it would be a different story. And so you had completely dropped all of that. You'd switched gears to horses. Now you've moved to Florida, and so positive things just keep building and happening for you because you end up getting an excellent career, which you have to this day. You got an excellent job financially. You've got some room to grow. Really exciting. So, I mean, that's amazing. And it's not a career in what you went to school for, but it is what you do right now is also an offshoot of some of your strengths and talents. So yeah, yeah, Emily, she can sing. She's got a beautiful voice. Aww. Okay, so yeah, I love it. All right, so your next big bullet point was letting go and renewal. So first you began your journey, you found me, and then you moved to Florida. And then you were continuing to grow and evolve and follow your bliss and learn how to be authentic and be a leader for yourself and find that clear path. And then a major setback happened. All these good things were happening and you had a major setback.
Yeah. Well, moving to Florida was amazing in many ways. What I hadn't anticipated, and you can never know these things because every horse and every person's an individual. And unfortunately, or fortunately, we don't have little magic glass balls. We can look into the future and base our decisions off that. We have to make a decision with the information we have at the moment and make the best choice we can with that information. And Abril, my sweet mare, was allergic to Florida. I don't know how else to put it. She got COPD, and I think my vet thinks it's some kind of allergen to, he thinks it's the grass, the southern grass that grows here in Florida.
There's also a lot of mold. So she had heaves, guys, then COPD, and then you've got a lot of mold. I mean, we've been fighting weird things here with similar situations, moving from the old place to this new place. It just 10 minutes away, and the dust and the sand but the mold can cause more of a pneumonia. She had a lot of fluid in her lungs, if I'm correct, could be part of that COPD, but there's a lot going on. I mean, she was laminitic to begin with, right? Or didn't she founder?
No, she never founded, but she was metabolic. So she had sugar issues, insulin sugar issues, which complicated everything. She ended up with a sinus infection. My vet said he diagnosed her with a sinus infection.
There you go, Florida.
Florida. I mean, it was
everything.
I struggled.
And Renee was spending a fortune. Yeah, I mean, you were like, you finally have a job with a salary and benefits, and it was disgusting. It was heartbreaking. It just all the way around, it was heartbreaking, emotionally, financially. And you put up with all of this for over a year. You tried everything you could holistically for this horse, everything and Emily was there the whole time, because you were half leasing Abril before you bought Adone. Yeah, it was horrible, you guys.
Yeah, and she stopped sweating. And that's my vet
too.
said that's a complication of COPD or heaves. A lot of times I'll stop sweating. So, and she started to shut down. She wasn't the same horse. And I knew it was time. So I had her put down.
Yep. Yep.
And yeah, that she was my everything. I mean, I've uprooted my life to bring her.
You had her for 8 years? Yes, you had her since she was 3-year-old. She was a wild Mustang or born?
Born in captivity.
In captivity.
Yeah, but
and yep.
But she had issues. We came a long way though. We overcame.
Yep. Yes, you did. And that's, she was amazing for Emily to come back into horses and learn how to ride. I mean, you guys, you did amazing things. And she was an angel. She was an angel. There's so many angels that happen in our lives. Oh my gosh. You know, all the important people that happen, animals that come into our lives for what, a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Yeah.
So that crushed me. This work goes so deep, as you all know, and you create such a bond with your horse it's a tethering, I think, from heart to heart with your work. Like you're tethered for life. Yeah. And
yes, that's a good word.
I lost my heart when she left, and I was pretty much bedridden. Like my body shut down.
Yeah, I remember.
Very ill. I was very ill.
Yeah.
After she passed, and I mean, I was bedridden, you guys. I was that ill. I was in so much pain, physical pain, emotional pain. And at that point in life, I'm like, God, what do I do? Because I have lost my horse, who was everything to me.
You lost a piece of yourself, a part of yourself too.
Yeah. And I prayed, and I'm like, I'm in bed. I'm in searing pain all the time, emotional and physical, like my back.
You ended up getting a sinus, and you ended up getting a sinus operation. Yep. She had an acute bacterial infection. Mm-hmm. Oh, you guys. So all her emotional turmoil manifested physically, as it often does for all of us in different ways. And this is a whole nother podcast and where we can dive in even deeper. But, you know, I can relate, like I think all of us, when we lose a loved one, but you went to the extreme of losing yourself. Mm-hmm. And I remember that when I lost my beloved backyard horse, Brandy, when I was in DC with my marketing firm, and Brandy was, you know, retired at mom and dad's farm. And when we had to put Brandy down at the age of 32, mm-hmm. I was depressed for 2 years. So in 2000 to 2002, I was crying. I was in and out of counseling. I didn't like any of my therapists. I went through this. I had no idea how much of me I had invested in that horse. And, you know, I wasn't as close to him at the time that you were with Abril. But I had Brandy for 25 years, you guys. This is the horse that started everything for me at the age of 9. And I didn't realize what I had lost or how much of me. I can so relate to you. It was like having a mini nervous breakdown, and because I've had one before, so it wasn't that severe when I was a teenager, but it was a little mini nervous breakdown for me. And wow, I can so relate, my dear, but it's not healthy is what I'm saying. Yeah, it's not healthy. So the cool thing is, and you're going to talk about this for you, this is the renewal part. Brandy's death, which was old age, okay, it wasn't sudden, kind of an unexpected, but Brandy's death, opened doors for me. You know, when I was ready to heal in 2002, that's when I started pursuing a different path, which is this path today. That's when I started thinking and pulling myself together and thinking how I wanted to spend the rest of my life. And I missed having a horse. And so that opened the door of possibilities. And it did the same for you with the Brill. I mean, you were going down that rabbit hole again, and really bad, really bad. And you and I talked a lot about this. We had, more coaching and friendship at this point, and understanding. I kept telling you to heal and allow yourself, don't deny yourself, don't be ashamed, don't be embarrassed, don't judge yourself. Your body, you've got to go through this process, and as long as you're aware, that it's not healthy, to a point that you're going to come out on the other side, and you're going to figure out how to gather more internal strength and build those reservoirs within yourself.
Yep.
And you did. That's one of the biggest lessons. Letting a Brill go, you found yourself. You found yourself in a Brill. When a Brill went, you lost yourself. Now you needed to identify with you, who you were. Who is Renee? And wow, look where we are today.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah, it's I guess I'll jump into the next part if you'd like me to then. It's like finding my soul's purpose. Again, like you had said, a Brill was my
part
purpose.
of the process.
Yeah,
but not the destination. She was not the destination. She was a bridge.
Yeah. And I never, when I walked away from music, and I mean, I'll tell you, like I had, my grad school voice teacher I loved. She was great. But I don't think the timing was right for me to try to have a music career. I had more life to live and to go experience. And I feel like a Brill, I didn't know it at the time, but a Brill was a big part of that. Like you said, a bridge.
Yes.
And when I was in bed, again, just splayed out, heartbroken, when I prayed, I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing with my life? Because I am so lost without my horse. And God said, sing. Just clear as day. And I laid in bed and I started to sing. And you guys, I had barely sung in 8 years. Everything went into my horse. Like I had just stopped. Essentially, I did a couple performances here and there, but I stopped singing. I wasn't practicing. I wasn't putting any effort into it. I let that part of my life go. I was like, I'm never good enough. I'm never going to make it. Why bother? And I'm like, I'm going to sing. And I started singing. And I started singing some of my old opera rep. And then I'm like, I really have always wanted to sing pop and musical theater. I'm not in school anymore. What's stopping me? So I started singing musical theater, and I started trying to learn how to sing pop. It wasn't in my training, so it was very new for me. So it's musical theater that was not in my training. And everything started to unfold at that point for me with singing. It was very clear. Doors were opening that you guys, I never could have imagined the opportunity. At my age, okay, I'm just going to say realistically, opportunities like this usually exist for people still in school, who are younger, who are in their like people that have stepped
and they'll even tell you that. Yep, they'll even tell you that. Your mentors, yes.
People my age shouldn't be getting the opportunities I'm getting, generally speaking, and especially someone who hasn't been singing for so long. And long story short, I got to sing for a Metropolitan Opera singer. She did a master class last year, and that kind of started me off. So I just got up in front of her virtually, because it was pandemic, sang for her. She gave me some feedback in a master class. Hadn't done that like ever. I sang for a few people in grad school, but it was mostly like opera directors, not like a major opera singer, well-known performer. And I started with a voice teacher. And so that kind of set me on my path. And then I don't know, I just, Caroline teaches listening to your intuition. And all the work I had done with Caroline and all the training and all the healing, I really had to hone into my intuition. And this part was important because this really got me to the next step I needed to take. And there was a small voice inside of me that was like, reach out to this Broadway performer. And I'm like, what? But I listened to my gut, and I couldn't tell you why, but I did. And I reached out to her, And then I started coaching with her. And that was is an opportunity of a lifetime to be able to connect with somebody of that caliber and have ongoing performance coachings with her.
Yep.
She then connected me to my current voice teacher, who now he is helping me get a certification in his method so I can open my own voice studio and teach
Oh my
his
God,
method of singing. So
holy cow.
It's been like this roller coaster
And you have your own
ride.
house now? By the way, you're sitting in your very own home. You own your own home.
I bought a house.
Home. You guys, look at all this.
No more renting.
And listen, and I don't mean it to sound bad, but we've talked about this, you would have never been able to do this if you had to keep supporting Abril and supporting her life, keeping her alive. That horse was costing you $1,500 a month.
Well, yeah, probably around there. But I mean, I want to make it clear too, that isn't the reason I put her down was financial. I would have kept going. I would have made it work. It was her quality of life.
I know.
Quality of life that was what it
was horrible.
It was done. Like, she was okay on steroids, but you can't stay on steroids. Yvette was like, she could get encephalitis. The mosquitoes in Florida are ridiculous. We can't vaccinate her while she's on steroids, and she can't come off them because she can't breathe.
But it was everything. It was, yeah, she had the insulin issues. She had the, it was everything, you guys. Sinuses. She had the COPD. I mean, she couldn't sweat. It was just everything. Yeah. But I know, but still, oh my gosh. You get to
a point where you watch your horse and she can't breathe, you have to make that decision. So, I mean, yes, realistically, the financial part of it, but for her, it was watching her suffer.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't let her go on. For me, this has to be for her.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it just, going back to the singing, it just was opening all these doors. And I never thought I'd be singing musical theater or learning how to sing pop or having my own voice studio. Like I had walked away from music. I thought, I'm a wash up. I won't be able to ever sing good enough. And now I'm working with these high caliber people. Never would have thought. So it goes to show, follow your intuition. Like Caroline said, follow your bliss, what makes you happy, because music and horses were there when I was a kid, and music and horses are still here now. Like, that hasn't gone away from me. And it's rekindled this life in me for singing that I had forgotten how healing it was. I had forgotten how music, when you perform it, it can like touch people's lives. It can help heal people.
Yes.
It's so healing and therapeutic. And if my story can influence or help anyone through music, through horses, that's what it's about.
Don't give up. Even if you're not sure what your bliss is, you also need support. And I was the support for Renee at the time until she could, broaden her support, obviously, and then create, that inner abundance and support for herself, that reservoir, as I call it. We all need support, period. And especially through dark and troubling times or confusion, despair, depression, you need somebody to help pull you out and get you going and show you the way. And you had the courage to do that. You had the courage to do that, my dear. That says so much about who you are.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's where I'm at now, just developing both
your gift,
singing,
yes,
and kind of still in the horse world. With Caroline and some new opportunities with the horse. So it's been really incredible to see how this that the loss, as awful and traumatic and heartbreaking as it was, if you can move through that and follow your bliss, your intuition, you never know where it's going to lead you.
Yes, and that's a good point that Lydia in the comments, one of our fellow students, courage overcomes fear. Yes, and a lot of people are so paralyzed by fear, though. They don't know how to take that first step. So do you remember being paralyzed by fear, Renee?
Oh yeah. I didn't know what to do. I mean, I just so overwhelmed and scared of the future, because I had thought okay, you know, I really was like, I'm gonna do Caroline's method. I'm gonna get these like thought I was gonna teach horsemanship. Like this was my brain, and Abril was gonna help me. You know, she was gonna teach more students. You know, she had taught Emily, but I wanted her to teach. Like I had this whole thing in my head, and then life was like, we have something else for you.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
but I was scared. I was scared. I mean, all of it was scary. And you have to get to a point where you hit that rock bottom, like you had mentioned. You're like, there has to be an option, and where do I go from here? And it's really that authentic training you teach us, like going back to listening to your intuition,
and not being afraid. I hate to say it like that, because we all know what it's like to be afraid, and that'll happen throughout our lives, you guys. It's just, does it get easier? You hope so, yes. The more that you allow yourself to experience it, and you build the strength and the courage, isn't it? But the confidence to know that you can get through it. You can't avoid pain. We can't avoid it. We can't avoid, you know, when shit happens. It's how we work through it. It's how we learn to navigate. You know, I hate the words coping mechanisms. Just learn to cope and manage. Screw that. Look what happens to when the horse or us learn to cope and manage. We shut down. We always end up going in some form of self-preservation mode. You got to learn how to take it in and not be afraid of it. It doesn't own you. It feels like it owns you because you're allowing it. You're allowing it to own you. You got to get through that and say, you know what? I'm going to hit rock bottom. This sucks, but I don't want to die. I don't want to give up. I mean, we're looking at the real stark, you know, despair here. So I can only go up and go forward. And we've got to look at it like that. You cannot be afraid, and we're all afraid. But you can't make these huge changes in your life, these huge shifts, if you're constantly afraid. You've got to allow that to happen. It's part of, like, when I'm working with the horses and rehabilitating them so I can restore them to as much of their natural self as possible. I am able to very carefully, lovingly, firmly guide them through everything they're afraid of. It's not that I'm recreating those exact experiences. I would never do that, but I am recreating the level of fear and panic, whatever they're trapped in. I am able to recreate that emotion, not the incident. I would never do that, but the emotion. And I'm holding their hand, and I'm letting them know that I'm here for them, and they're going to learn the skills to work through this, navigate. And it's the same thing I do for people. Navigate through this, because that's life, man. It can be like this, and then you're coasting. Sometimes you're going up, and sometimes boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
That's life, baby.
it is.
And God knows we love our friends. I love all of you for helping me through some of my shit. I'll tell you what, you need it. Everybody thinks they're supposed to do this, or they're taught through their family dynamic to do all this on their own. Screw that. Yeah. Screw that. Screw that. Screw that. Screw that.
Well, and may I add 2 examples to this that I think were really helpful, that I would encourage people, and Caroline, I believe you teach this, to draw on your experiences of moments of courage that you overcame fear in your life. And this is what I did, because when I came to you, I was scared to death. It's
positive thinking. Draw on the strengths. Yes.
Yes. And I was
law of attraction. Recreate your story.
Exactly. Like reframing it. And when I came to you, I couldn't get on a horse. I was scared to get on Sundance.
You were really messed up though, girl. You had some major accidents that just totally jacked your body up.
Yeah. But I learned.
But baby girl, she so patiently came to the mounting block and was hugging you and trying to help you and holding that space for you, and you got on.
It took many sessions, and I trusted her, and I got on, and now I can get on Zor. I was scared to death to get on Zor. He didn't even do anything wrong. It was just my own fear in my head.
I know.
And I can get on him now, no problem, which then led me, my biggest accomplishment, I think maybe to date, is getting on my own horse after 2 years of just groundwork. And I did it.
Bareback pad and a rope halter. Yep, I was there with you and Emily when she was still alive.
Yeah.
When she had a good day. When she had a good day.
Yep. And that I was able to draw on those experiences. Like, okay, I've had extreme trauma fear before and overcame. And so I take those experiences into my life with my music.
Yes.
And I'm like, I may be scared to sing for so-and-so, maybe shaking, or maybe scared about this performance, or, you know, performance anxiety. It happens.
Yes.
But I'm like, I overcame so much with my horse. People didn't think it was possible. I mean, I had people telling me with this horse, she's going to kill you. She's too dangerous. She's too much horse for you. You're too green. You don't know what you're doing. You know, enter Caroline into my life. I heard it all, you guys, about this horse. I tell you how many times people said she's going to kill me. This horse, a Brill's going to kill you.
She was pretty reactive. She was definitely an extreme case. Mm-hmm.
So, but sweet horse, but she was so scared that, like you said, she just reacted. And if you were in her way, good luck.
Thank you, Lisa. And Renee, this is cute. I'm just reading some of the chat. You guys are wonderful. Yeah. Aww. Lisa's like, I think about Caroline every time I take a deep cleansing breath and remember to breathe. Well, yeah, that breath technique also helped Renee with her singing. You know, I've said, Renee and I have sung together. Sabrina has a beautiful voice. I've got a pretty good voice. It's good enough, but it's definitely gotten better. I love to sing, you guys. That would definitely have been my other absolute passion. And I'm an artist, forget painting and drawing, but horses are number one. And Renee, you found this out recently, spending some time with me, that singing would have been my other true passion in life. But anyway, the breath work that I teach in the Mastery membership in the spirituality course has helped my getting older. Here I am, 53. My voice is the best it's ever been because of the way I breathe, because you open up your diaphragm, and it's, you know, that as a singer, it's been tremendous.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, your breath work, I told you, was part of me helping to get back into singing too. All the breath work you do in the round pen when working with the horses, it's Yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. Aw, does anybody have any questions or no? I mean, the thing that's better than Zoom is when I'm on Facebook, I can actually see everyone's comments, which can be distracting, sorry, but it's just great because we're all in this together and sharing. Thank gosh, Renee. Wow. Anything else you want to add, love? This beautiful, beautiful story from your heart.
Yeah, I think that pretty much, it sums it up. That's the abridged version. There are a little bit more details in between, but that's, essentially it. And I just want to thank you, Caroline. You know, gosh, meeting you has just changed my life. Your work, the Tao work, you guys, you are so lucky to have Caroline. Like, there is no trainer out there like Caroline Best. Like, she's literally... And I told you this when I moved to Florida. I'm like, you're the best trainer as far as I'm concerned in the world, which, congratulations. Like I hold you at that level. Like, you guys, there's nobody out there teaching this stuff. There's nobody doing personal development along with horse development. There's like nobody talking about this connection work and this deep, deep bonding and trust work. Like, it's just Caroline. So everyone's so fortunate to have her. I feel so fortunate, and like, so much of what I have right now is because of a Brill, but because of the work and time and effort you put into me.
Give it back. Give it back. Give it back. You know, when we're touched by people that have helped us along the way, the best we can do is give that back to other people. Share what you've learned, and you're doing it right now. And just keep giving, you guys. Just keep giving. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, love.
You're welcome.
Love you. Love you guys. Love you guys. All right. On that note, pass it on is right, Lydia. Thank you, babe. So I'm going to sign off. I've got my equine dentist, what do I call him? The equine dentist whisperer, Jeff. So he's down at the barn. Working on all the horses' mouths, so they're teethers. They're twofers. Yeah. And all right, love. So you've got to get back. This is your lunch break from work. You're going to get back to work. I'm going to get back to the horses, and next week's podcast is on me. And real quick, we're going to be talking about flow. Flow in your life and flow in your horsemanship. And what do I mean by flow? This is going to be another deep one. And then I think, let's see, the third, we've got Aaron. And then I think the last one's going to be a surprise. I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about. Oh, Jonas, real quick. This is Emily's husband and one of our students. As a male in this world, I can attest to the inner work we do here under this method. I know most guys are tough cowboys, but what I have learned is to trust the process and be able to be vulnerable even in front of your horse and family. Thank you, Jonas. Thank you. Yeah, my husband can attest to the vulnerability of what this work, who I am. Vulnerability is key and intimacy is key. Holy shit. Start the reset button on that one. All good. Thank you, Jonas. It's an honor to have you here as a man. I often get asked, can men join this? Always. Always. And I have a couple. I have a few. Jonas and then Bill, and there was a third one. You have forever, lifetime access, but this is when I was first exploring how to set the mastery membership up, so it wasn't the mastery membership. Remember years ago, Renee, it was just the Tao method. Yeah, yes. So it was kind of my trial test guinea pig course, which is the Tao method is in the mastery membership. So, and I had this another awesome guy on there. He was a trainer. He asked great questions. But yeah, I wish more men would. I know, Jonas, you got to go back to work too. Everybody's taking their lunch break. That's why we do it at noon. All right, guys, keep spreading the word. Keep sharing. You are the example. Lead by example, all of us. You know, you can only say so much. Just keep doing what you're doing. Believe in yourself. Continue with the support and value that you have around you, and lead by example. Mm-hmm. And I love all of you. I'm proud of you guys. God bless you. Mwah. And I'll see you next week. And thank you, beautiful. Love you, girl.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye, guys. Now how do I get out of here? I don't even know. All right, hang tight. There goes Renee. So I have to get out of here. Sabrina, how do I get out of here? Down there. Right there. Wait, leave the room. Okay, we're leaving. Bye.